Hello and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Supervisory Special Agent Stephanie Shark, and we're here today to talk about physical fitness and the training new agents receive while they're at the FBI Academy. We've invited a couple of guests from our physical training unit down at Quantico and a supervisory special agent from our Human Resources Division to share their insights as well as discuss how important physical fitness is to the job of a special agent. As we get into our conversation, please feel free to ask questions during our broadcast by typing them into the comments field or by using the hashtag AskFBI. We'll make sure to answer them as we move along today. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm going to start here on my right. I have John Van Voorst. Will you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your experience and your current role at the FBI?
Sure. Again, my name is John Van Voorst, and for the last 15 years, and then some, I've been a health and fitness instructor at the FBI's physical training unit at the Academy in Quantico. And prior to coming on board with the Bureau, I actually taught at the collegiate, university setting in the health, physical education, and recreation department.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next, we have Kevin Schimento. Kevin, please tell us about your experience and your role today in the FBI.
Sure. Like you said, my name's Kevin Schimento, and I've been in the FBI Physical Training Unit since 1996 as a health and fitness instructor, and just enjoy developing programs and helping people progress through the academy and continue along with their physical training throughout their careers as special agents.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kevin. And then finally, we have Keisha Rutland. Welcome, Keisha.
Hi, thank you. My name is Keisha Rutland. I'm a supervisory special agent in the HRD division, and I work in the selection and testing of new agents.
So HRD, for our audience out there, is Human Resources.
That's correct.
So you're the ones who get the bodies in and make sure that they're good to go.
That's right.
Wonderful. Well, let's get started. We're here today to talk about physical fitness training at FBI, and you guys came up here from Quantico a little bit. Can you tell us, starting with you, John, what the physical fitness training at the Academy is like?
Yes. So once the bodies are in, our goal is to focus on what are the movements that a special agent needs to be able to do, breaking down the job task into, what do you really need to be able to do from a movement perspective?
Like punches and kicking?
Potentially
Okay.
things that could save your life or protect the public for which they serve. So to be able to sprint and to fight and to control a subject, rather than focusing on the muscles involved, let's focus on the movements that they need. And so from the beginning, we try to watch the trainees move and identify maybe some weaknesses in their movement vocabulary and see if we can't provide some solutions so that they're better movers by the time that they graduate and hit the field.
Now, when I came in, we had to do a lot of weights. That was how my training was. Can you tell us a little bit today, if we're not focusing on specific muscle groups, what other dynamic type of things are you looking for with that movement that John was talking
Well, sure. Basically, we want you, the person to come in and get used to their body, right? They bring their body everywhere they go, so pushing, pulling, carrying, moving their body in time and space, getting used to that, kind of what John just said. But also, we want to get that mind-muscle interaction, upper, lower body coordination, interacting with the ground, punching, kicking, maybe that possible physical confrontation. You're against an unknown opponent. They're pushing, pulling, and you don't know what sort of way. So just get them prepared for that.
Okay. So in order to get into the FBI, and we'll go into that a little bit later, but also proceed through the academy, there's a physical fitness test that people have to take. I know if you go on FBI.gov, that if you say Becoming a Special Agent series, we have an example of the video of becoming a special agent and what that physical fitness test requires. But since we don't have time today to show it to you, will you tell us a little bit, either of you, what does that mean? What is a physical fitness test for FBI new agents?
Sure. The physical fitness test consists of 5 events.
Okay.
Starts with a timed 1-minute sit-up test, followed by a 300-meter sprint, a maximum number of push-up tests, and a 1.5-mile run, and finishing with pull-ups.
Now, that sounds simple enough, Kevin.
Yeah, it does sound simple, but when you actually put it all together, it is very tiring. We call it metabolically demanding. So when they do their training, or when you're going to do training for becoming a special agent, you should probably integrate that. So making sure that it's total body and not just testing push-ups today, sit-ups tomorrow, because the test is very fatiguing in nature, and you do a lot of those events in a short period of time.
So you guys deal with the employees while they're at the academy. Keisha, you have a lot of insight and interaction with employees prior to coming to the academy. Can you talk a little bit about what is expected of them related to the PFT or the physical fitness test with the FBI before they get to the academy?
Yes, absolutely. So just in general, I think that the FIT test builds confidence with the new trainees. Okay. And I think that it builds also a mindset that fitness is for life. Right? It helps them develop a way to handle stress, and it teaches you to move out of your physical fitness comfort zone. It teaches you that you can go longer and harder and more than what you thought you could do.
Now, you and I are both special agents, and we've both taken the physical fitness test. And one of the things we were talking about earlier is I feel like it also pushes people beyond their physical limitations to see how much they really want this job or want to overcome obstacles to meet their goals. Do you have a similar experience? Or
Yes, no, I agree with that. In order to train for the special agent position, it's not something that you can just do overnight. It takes a couple of weeks, and it takes discipline to be able to get to the level where you can pass the PFT.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you to everyone who has tuned in this far. If you're just joining us, we're giving you an inside look into the physical fitness training at FBI Academy. We just talked about the physical fitness test, or PFT as we call it in FBI land, and what new agent trainees must do to pass it. Please feel free to submit questions by using the hashtag AskFBI or by typing them into the comments. We'll be sure to try to get to them as soon as we can as we move along. Now, let's ask our first question from the audience. You want to take it? Daniel asks, is the PFT, or the physical fitness test, always conducted outdoors? Should applicants be prepared to complete the test under any weather conditions? So right now it's summer, and we're in Washington, D.C., and it's hot and muggy, but I'm from Chicago, where it's really cold, and some people live in Alaska and other places.
Yeah, they need to be prepared to take the test in any environment. Of course, we pay attention to heat, humidity, and those considerations, or thunderstorm, lightning. We wouldn't test. But at the academy, it is an outdoor track, so if it's hot and humid, and as long as it's a go, we get a go to do the test. We can do some of the running events outside, and we do some of the other sit-ups, push-ups, sometimes inside, to kind of alleviate any discomforts due to the heat. But yeah, they do need to be prepared. If it's raining, we're going.
Okay.
So if someone were reporting in August in Quantico, it's critical, if they're able, to at least train and get as acclimated as they can before they arrive. And we certainly aren't going to do the test at the heat of the day. But even, as you know, at 7 or 8 a.m., it can be pretty nasty here. So getting as acclimated as possible before they arrive is very important.
So Daniel, I think that's a yes. Be prepared for any weather condition possible. So preparing for the fitness test and at the academy, what recommendations do you have for people who are actually preparing? And Keisha, I want to start off with you a little bit. Since you talk to the agents before they get to the academy, what advice would you give to our audience to prepare?
So I would say definitely go out and do a self-PFT to monitor your progress. I like to tell agents to do cross-training, because I think that that's a really good option. For instance, you can go outside and you can run one lap around the track, and then do push-ups, do another lap, and then do sit-ups, and alternate those laps as you work your way up to 1 mile. And then just continue adding on miles, 2 miles to 3 miles. Then that will help them prepare. I also like interval training, and I think that that's a really good option too.
Kevin, John?
Yeah, definitely. We do for the 1.5 miles, the 300 meter, one of the best kind of training routine that we would recommend would be intervals. So, running fast a little bit, running slow a little bit, recovery, and just repeats like in that nature would better prepare them for that 1.5 miles and 300 meter. as opposed to the common thought of let's run 3 miles and then let's run 5 miles, where that's not really preparing them to run fast, where that 300-meter is a fast sprint, so they need to prepare for that.
So you say getting your heart rate up, getting it as fast as you can and seeing if you can calm it down and keep pushing that time, that helps?
Well, yeah, just increasing your work rate and then recovering gives you, you're better able to sustain a higher level of training, as opposed to if I'm just going to run hard for as long as I can, it's not going to be, I can't do that.
Right.
Just think of, I'm going to run 2 laps for as hard as I can. It just wouldn't happen.
Got it.
So run hard, recover. So those bouts of the high intensity, those are good quality bouts. So you get the benefit from maximizing that hard part, fast part.
Okay. Any other recommendations you might have, John, for our audience?
I would just echo what Keisha mentioned earlier, that this is a process too. A lot of people want results and they want them now, and it doesn't happen that fast sometimes. So gradually increase that workload, gradually increase the intensity to avoid the injuries and other common problems that you might see. So train hard, but be smart about it.
So what do we say to people who really, in their heart of hearts, wants to be a special agent? They really know they can contribute to the FBI, but like running isn't their thing. So they get out there, they run a few blocks, and they're done. Should they throw in the towel?
So
before they get to the phase, before they start applying?
No, I would encourage them to reframe the running, because I'd like to throw myself in that same boat in terms of, I don't know that I have a lot of enjoyment just simply going out and running for running's sake, but you're not just running for running's sake. You might be running to save the life of your partner, to protect the public at large. So always have a higher purpose ultimately with that run. This run and this test is simply, again, one hurdle or obstacle to becoming that important special agent position. So maybe having that mental sort of reframe would be one of my other recommendations too.
And like you said, really put it into a purpose. I mean, we were talking about purpose earlier for our jobs and why we're applying. So wonderful. Well, if you're just joining us now, I'm Supervisory Special Agent Stephanie Shark, and we are here speaking with some experts from our physical training unit and our human resources, giving you an inside look into the physical fitness training at FBI Academy. Feel free to submit questions by using the hashtag AskFBI or by typing them into the comments. We'll be sure to look at them and try to get to as many as we can as we move along. And we have another question from our audience, which we really like to hear what you have to say. So Keisha, this one is likely for you. Travis asks, can you become a special agent after retiring from the military, and what is the age limit?
So currently, if you are outside of the military.
So you've already retired outside?
Well, I have to kind of understand that a little bit better, because there are nuances for those that retire from the military. But just in general, agents have to come in by their 37th birthday.
Into the FBI Academy?
Into the FBI Academy, yes. There are age waivers for the military, and we can do that for you. It's a little bit, it's a little different process, but absolutely, if you're from the military, you can come in after age 37. But the caveat is that agents have to work 20 years before they retire. So yes, there are options for the military, and we love the military.
We love having military people here, and you guys know how to work out, so you can teach us a lot as well. So wonderful.
Good question.
So we have a new technology that we are here today to talk about that helps people interested in becoming an FBI agent use their cell phones to prepare. So we have a new physical fitness PFT app from the FBI. It's the FBI's first official fit test app, and it's downloadable on Apple Store and Google Play. Now, it's my understanding that you two helped develop this app.
Yes.
Correct.
Well, tell us about it.
So early on in the process, I guess, we saw this gap that existed between an applicant who wants to take the test and then all of the information that somebody might need to actually administer the test properly. And so if you're out at a track attempting to take this self-assessment, it certainly would be easier if you could open up your phone, have all of the protocols listed right there for you, have video demonstrations to demonstrate the protocol, build-in timers, anything that would just make it easier for an applicant to actually take the test properly to get that self-assessment, and maybe include some other information, you know, along the way.
So they don't have to show up with paper and a stopwatch and a buddy.
More and more.
They can just do it on their phone.
Of course.
Yeah, and it explains the protocol really well, so they know how to do it precisely.
Well, give me an example. How does, it's my understanding that you have been doing some demos and are in some videos on our FBI website, so clearly you're someone who knows what the protocol is. What does that mean, protocol?
Well, the protocol means it's the specific way that we will count, say, a push-up or a sit-up. And we have protocols for the running events, but those are pretty straightforward with distance and time. But there's certain ways that people may think they do a push-up and it would count, but we have like lowering ourselves, the center axis of the shoulder and the elbow needs to be a straight line, basically.
And there's
parallel to the
videos
ground.
that
And
show
there's
you how to do
videos
this.
that explain that.
Okay.
The app is great because it has it right there. They have the words, and then maybe just involve someone else so that they can actually give you feedback that you're doing it correctly. And then once you get squared away there, then the app and yourself, you're good to go.
Great.
Yeah.
So Keisha, since you see people before they get to the academy, does everyone pass? Is this easy? What's kind of been your experience?
No, it's not easy to pass the PFT, but with preparation, you can do that.
Okay.
The app is great because it will time it'll give you time in between the events, which is really important. It keeps you on that 5-minute schedule between doing like your push-ups and the run, and that's crucial because people will come to us and they have to do their PFT and they say, well, I really didn't know that I had only 5 minutes between the events. So the PFT explains everything that's expected of the candidate when they show up.
Which hopefully increases their ability to pass
Absolutely.
first time around.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So I know we're getting a little bit close to our finish line here. And if you want to take the new challenge and train like an agent, please download the FBI Fit Test app now on the App Store and Google Play. I downloaded it today, and of course in true government fashion there are disclaimers, and then you say if you're male or female, and then it seemed pretty easy. Let's just go. Let's see if I want to train and all this time to move forward. So in terms of any words of advice for somebody who wants to be an FBI agent, as it relates to the physical fitness and their health, if you could give our audience anything to help them say, is the FBI for me? Like, can I do this? What would you say?
So I always tell applicants, one, if you are really serious about this, come up with a plan to work out and then follow through to that plan and then prepare, and you can do it. It is not an impossible hurdle.
Yeah, it's definitely a process, right? And the physical training is something that is laid out there. They know. Again, it doesn't have to be you meet those minimums or those standards, like John said, in a week or a day. It's a process. So if you know you're interested, start now. Start off slowly and progress it, and you should be good to go.
Right.
But don't let the test deter you from accomplishing this mission. And we have high standards, and we think that you can meet them.
And just to follow all that, it's all in your head. I know with me, because I'm not the fastest runner, when I'm next to somebody who's taken off sprinting, I feel defeated, but I know that when I keep going, I pass the test because I've got everything in me that wants it so bad. So if you want this so bad, I encourage you to not let yourself be your worst enemy and just keep going. So I think we have time for one more question from the audience. Janelle asks, how many times can you take the PFT if you don't pass the first time? So are we ruthless, one and done and you're out?
No, and thank you so much for asking that question. So before you go to the academy, applicants must take their PFT. If you don't pass the first time, you have 2 more times to take it within a year. So we give you the opportunity to work out.
And that's before the academy?
Yes, that's before the academy.
And gentlemen, once you get to the academy, what are the expectations?
So once they arrive at the academy, they take a physical fitness test very early on, and if they do not pass that test, they get one more shot about 8 weeks later. So getting there with some margin is a good idea. just because it's a little bit more stressful at the academy, but they'll have a second chance at it if necessary.
Yeah, it's definitely a high-stress environment. You have defensive tactics, that's physical as well, firearms, physical, but there's also the mental aspect of pressure, it's a competitive environment. So if you can just get that physical fitness test under your belt, maybe it'll just relieve that other stress just a little bit, and you'll be better prepared.
And speaking about the wiggle room, you stated a fact earlier about 45 seconds as it relates to giving yourself wiggle room. What does that mean?
So yes, so if you have your 1.5 mile time, most people know what they can run 1.5 miles in. Well, pretty much what we've seen is that when you do those other events before the 1.5 miles, it adds about 45 seconds to a minute. So if you say, oh, I normally run a 12-minute 1.5 miles, you're probably going to have to add another 45 seconds to a minute if you do those other events prior to that.
So if you're a runner and you use the app in demo mode and you go to what you're good at, which is the 1.5 mile run, make sure that you flip it to testing mode where you have to do the other events first and see how that might impact your running ability.
That's great.
So you're talking to me on that. Doing the push-ups, yes, and stuff.
Well, I think this is a good opportunity to sign off for the session. I want to thank our panelists for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your experience and wisdom with not only me, but the audience. And if you, our audience, have any questions or need more information about the special agent careers, openings, how to apply, any FBI jobs, please visit us on the web at fbijobs.gov. We were talking earlier today that your job isn't a normal job, and you wouldn't have even known that we had physical fitness, what is your exact title?
Health and fitness instructors.
Health and fitness instructors in the FBI. So even if maybe you're not going to want to be an agent, there may be a job for you. So please go to fbijobs.gov, put in your resume, and we have everybody here, and we hopefully will have you too. Thank you.
Thanks.